Questions.
That's it.
Beautiful.
With John Hastings.
We'll never know.
Welcome again. It's Questions with John Hastings, the only podcast that's a reasonable length. That's right. It's as long as it takes. I answer a question, and then this is over. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Pacific Sativa Weed, coffee, and blowhardedness, because only a blowhard would do a solo podcast. And producer Paul, what is our question for today?
Hi, John. It's another food-related question. What
Ooh.
happens if you eat a whole jar of pickles?
Oh, great question. Now, just a little background. I am someone who is capable of eating a whole blank of blank. I was a much more larger boy in my youth. I got up to the sweet weight of 340 pounds at my largest, and which is a lot of stone. I don't know how to do that for our British friends who are listening in. Quite frankly, it's a bit of a protest against your human weight measurement. Not everything has to be from the Middle Ages. I know that was your golden era, people of England, because it was when you had the Black Plague and a lot of people died and people remember that. But Jesus, the love of God, kilos. I can do kilos. I just picture a brick of cocaine and start counting. You know what I mean? Just do pounds. Pounds sounds right. It's like kilometers. Using miles is a crime. That said, let's not get distracted. Let's get to the question, which I have forgotten. Paul, give it to me again.
Well, John, the question was, what happens if you eat a whole jar of pickles?
A whole jar of pickles, yes, of course. Now, I've never eaten a whole jar of pickles. I have eaten 4 pounds of hamburger in half an hour, got that meal free. I have, in COVID, I ate 2 extra large pizzas. I wanted to see if they could last a whole day, and I ate them both in 45 minutes. And when you do that, by the way, you feel like God for an hour, and then you feel insane. And then when you all pass it, my gut health was top-notch in the COVID lockdown. I was really minding it. So my metabolism was amazing, and it would just march out like a scary tail. That was a real moment. Now, pickles, I don't know what would really happen. First of all, what type of pickle are we picturing? I'm picturing the gherkin little guys that would be sliced up and put in tuna salad by my grandmother. I'm picturing those, and I'm picturing like sort of a regular-sized jar for Canada, which is where my childhood took place. So I'm going based off the childhood jar of pickles. I think you would be dehydrated as fuck, first of all. I think you would be sick of pickles way faster. I think you'd be 10 pickles in and you would go, all right, I'm done. Because pickles, that's a less is more addition to a sandwich or anything else. And also, it's not one of those, a pickle is not a meal. I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, John, do you have a book of poetry? Yes, I do. And it's called A Pickle Is Not a Meal and Other Things I Know. And by the way, what a fucking awful book that sounds like. You guys are all very lucky that you were not around for the mid-2000s, just random person you've never heard of opinion book. Now we're just letting anyone who happens to get over 100,000 people listening to them on a podcast just gets a book so we can pretend that they're an intellectual, which is a system I prefer to the 2000s where it's just, here's Deborah. She looks like she's annoying at parties, and she's written a 500-page book about painting your house. So what I'm saying is that I think that you could absolutely do it, but I think what would happen is, A, you're going to throw up. B, I don't think you're going to be able to do it in one sitting comfortably. And C, I just think you'll end up angry. And D, you're going to end up hating pickles, which would be the worst thing of all, because who doesn't love pickles? Like, who doesn't, like, here's what you've never said. Oh, fuck, my sandwich came with a pickle. Like, at most, you just go, I'm not in the mood for a pickle, and you pop it in the garbage can. So, yeah, pickle is one of those things. Let's keep it to a minimum. Pickles are like having your ass eaten. Only sometimes, or the taste is overpowering. What a question asked and answered. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, Question with John Hastings. We'll be back tomorrow, and this podcast will continue to be released until we run out of episodes. So see you then. And Questions with John Hastings is produced by Dark Horse Digital by Paul Daniels with John Hastings, who is stoned.